Thanks for joining us for another Kickstarter conniption. Today we're doing an overview of the game Alter Ego from Certifiable Studios.
And as always, we want to make you aware that our Kickstarter videos are sponsored in part by our Kickstarter backers and by the creators of this game.
Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Liam Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're looking at Alter Ego from Certifiable Studios.
It's a 2 to 4 player dice drafting dexterity game that takes about half an hour to play.
In this video, we are not reviewing or critiquing it, we're just giving you an idea about what the game is like and how to play. So, let's set up the game. Give each player their village board and one level of the altar, and then you're ready to begin.
The starting player begins the round by rolling the dice. They can take one action and they must select a die.
Green influence actions are taken before selecting their die, or red command actions can be taken after selecting their die.
The yellow dice will add villagers to the board, and the divinity dice can trigger a chapter of the game to be completed, multiple workers added to the village, or even cause famine to strike.
Each player selects a die for the round and takes a possible action, and then the next start player rolls the dice for the next round.
Workers can be spent to build your altar higher, or can be saved to finally claim the boulder boss. Place your villager on the first level of your altar for an additional point.
If at any time you cannot take a worker because your village is full, you must receive an infidel and must build one level on the greatest altar.
This is measured by counting all of the levels and the number of meeples.
If someone knocks over your altar, you win. Otherwise, play continues until all the chapters have been filled in either the kingdom or someone's temple, or someone has knocked over their own altar. Then, the player with the greatest altar wins.
Alter Ego is a dice drafting game where you're going to try to be building up your altar as high as you can and then sacrificing your villagers to give you points.
On your turn, you must always take one die, and that will most of the time be adding villagers to your board. And then you have the option of taking a green influence action or red command action. The green action will happen before you take your die, which ultimately will open up some of those spots on your board and it'll move some of the meeples around, except for the army. You can use to attack other players, or you might even attack your own village if you get really desperate. Your village has become overrun with meeples and you need to kind of pare it down a bit so you don't end up taking an infidel. If you at any point cannot take the villagers in because all the spaces are filled, then you must build one level on the greatest altar that's not yours, so you're helping out and giving points to the other player.
And then there's also the chapter die, which adds a whole other level to the game. You're going to if you have a monk, then you can sacrifice one of your monks to add to the chapter. And then if you get so many of them, it ends the game. And then if the chapter is rolled and nobody takes it, then someone will have to put it on the kingdom. And if you get 4 of those in the kingdom, then the game ends.
Yeah, so that's one of the faces on that divinity die. There's also the famine that can come up on the divinity die, which if you gets to your turn and you don't have a farmer, then when the round ends, you will have to take one of your villagers off your altar and place it on somebody else's. The reason for this is because the boulder boss will only allow you to place one of those worker meeples on the first level of your altar. So you'll have to use the lamb pasture to move a meeple up to the top level that's next one available, and then that bottom slot is now open to use one of your workers there. It is possible for you to knock over your own, so you have to be really careful moving things around, but it is a big portion of the game. And then if you ever don't time that correctly, either because you don't get the dice that you need on the draft, or you haven't moved your workers around just right so that you have the slots available when the time comes, and you end up taking an infidel, then you're placing things on other people's altars, giving them points, and if you knock those over, you lose the game and they win.
If Alter Ego sounds fun to you, definitely check it out on Kickstarter, and if you like this overview, definitely check out our other ones. We also did a playthrough of this game a couple days back. See you guys later. Bye! And if you also like this, what am I saying?
There's so many outtakes.
Okay. Today we're talking about game Alter Ego from Certifiable Studios. I'm placing villagers to do something. Give you points.
You're sacrificing your villagers.
I honestly didn't know that.
My alter ego. In the game, you have on. I'm sorry.
Why?
That's how I feel.
Mess up.
Sorry.